Have you ever been where you hear something and it just sticks and you can totally resonate with that? Well, I'm reading this book and we're going to discuss this a little bit more, but right in the second chapter, it said, change the way you think about yourself to change your habits. And at first I'm like, I don't understand what the heck he's trying to say. But once I figured it out, it is absolutely mind-boggling, and we're going to talk about that. You may or may not know, but I have a podcast, and it's called We're in Trouble Now, and it's a podcast that I do with both of my sons, Robert and Brandon. Super cool. You can hear it on iTunes and Spotify. The link is down below, and we also are recording the podcasts, and I'm putting them here every Monday. But we decided to start reading this book, The Atomic Habits by James Clear. I was thinking, it's just a book. I was on a TikTok live and I was asking for book recommendations, and this seemed to be the most popular one. What we do is we read one chapter a week, and then on our podcast, we discuss that chapter. Last week happened to be chapter number 2. And in chapter number 2, he clearly states that if you want to change your habits, you have to change the way the way you think about yourself. And as I said earlier, it's like I didn't understand it and it was not sinking in. But once it sunk in, I'm like, wow, this is really life-changing. So let me explain to you in my terms and the way I understand it. And hopefully, if you are in any part of your life where you're thinking about maybe making some habit changes, or they could be huge, they could be small, but it's going to be my suggestion that the way you think about yourself is what you need to change first, and then changing your habits after that's going to be a piece of cake. Let's give some examples of what I'm referring to, what he mentioned in the book. Because again, this isn't my original thinking. It's something I read that I think is really cool that I'm sharing with you. So for example, let's just say you're out there and you want to quit smoking. So instead of waking up every morning and be like, okay, today's a day I'm going to try to not smoke, wake up every morning and tell yourself that you're a non-smoker. You have to retrain your brain. You have to retrain your brain to think the way that you want it to. If you are out there and you want to start exercising more, tell yourself, you know what? I'm an athlete. I'm a runner. I'm this. I'm that. It can be something simple as, you know what? I'm a kind person. And then you will find yourself out there being a kind person to other people. And I've said this before on different episodes, but the way you think about yourself is a catalyst to how you're going to treat yourself and how you are going to treat others. So if you have negative self-talk, if you tell yourself that you're an angry person, you're going to be an angry person. If you tell yourself that you're overweight, you're not going to watch your food as conscientiously. If you tell yourself you're lazy, you're not going to exercise. So I've mentioned before in the past on self-confidence building that you have to get your inner voice under control. And this is absolutely what I'm talking about on this, is you have to figure out what you're telling yourself. You have to make sure what you're telling yourself is what you want. And if it's not, you have to change that in order to change your habits and your behaviors. So you're out there, you're like, okay, Lonnie, there's some things about me I want to change. How do I start? What do I do? What I would do, and truthfully what I would do, is anytime that you know that you're going to have like a quiet spot. For example, when you're getting ready in the morning, in your bathroom, I would put a Post-it note of positive things that you want to tell yourself. Put on that Post-it note how you want to think about yourself. Whatever it is, write it down and put it there, and start first thing in the morning telling yourself who you want to be. Another thing I would do is start rewarding yourself for these behaviors. You know, if you wake up every morning and tell yourself, I'm a non-smoker, and you find that you have not smoked for a month, you know what? Give yourself some credit. Give yourself some praise. You know what? A lot of times we wait for other people to come in and be like, wow, good job, well done. Where we need to be our biggest ally, our biggest hero, our biggest cheerleader. So if you find yourself making these progresses, by all means, give yourself a reward. Tell yourself, job well done. So this is the chapter that we read last week. And the reason that I'm sharing with you today mostly is because it has made a huge difference in me just within a week. What was happening is I recently quit my corporate job and started becoming a social media influencer full time. Now, I'd been an escrow officer for 12 years. I'd been an escrow for as long as I could remember. All right. So for that long, I identified myself as an escrow officer. People would be like, what do you do? I'm an escrow officer. Who are you? I'm an escrow officer. And I associated that title with the type of person I was. I was take charge. I was a strong woman. I could get a job done. I could see a problem and I could fix it. I could get that real estate transaction closed. And it felt good. And that is who I identified myself as. So all of a sudden, I decide that, it's not bringing me joy. I quit. Congratulations on me. But what I was not expecting is that with leaving that corporate job, I left that identity behind. No longer could I say I am this person, or no longer could I identify myself with this, take charge kind of person. Now I'm like, oh wow, who am I? Who am I? And I found myself struggling with my own identity. I wasn't telling myself who I was anymore. So after I read this chapter, I'm like, Twing! There you go, Lonnie. That's what you need to do. So I started waking up in the morning and I started telling myself, I'm a social media influencer. I am making a difference. I am encouraging women and men to live their best life over 50. I'm encouraging young moms to have their own identity. Now, what was happening is, since I wasn't really identifying with who I was, I found that my work ethic, my content, my energy in my social media was starting to wane a little bit. I wasn't coming across like I had been. I was struggling for content. It was almost a chore to do TikToks. It was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. And I couldn't find that spark that I so desperately needed. So I read this chapter and I'm like, you need to start telling yourself every moment that you are a social media influencer. And I have to tell you, it has made an incredible difference in the 1 week that I've done it. I get up and I have my day scheduled. I have TikToks. I'm doing Instagram lives. I'm doing TikTok lives. I'm doing my YouTubes daily. And just putting my mind frame in that direction, telling myself who I am, helped me change my direction. It helped me become focused again. And one more example I'm going to give you is when I quit drinking, when I took my power back from those addictions that were so horribly robbing it from me. How can I put this? I don't focus on how long I've been sober. I don't focus on anything other than who I am today. Now, I know that past Lonnie and Lonnie with addictions, I love her and I take care of her and I protect her. But going forward, I only identify with myself as sober Lonnie. And sober Lonnie is dynamic and can do whatever she wants. She can do social media. She can come to you every day and talk to you every day. So it's super, super important to identify who you want to be, to start changing habits, and to start living the life of who you want to be. So I hope I explained this well enough to you. I hope that if you are out there and you're at any sort of crossroads and you can't figure out which direction to go, that you sit down and you figure out who you want to be. How do you want to feel? What do you want to represent? and tell yourself that every single day. You know, this is a universal message. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're at, or what you're trying to accomplish. I think that if you put this system into place, it's going to help you tremendously. Again, this isn't my idea. It's what I read and I really wanted to share with you. Again, the book is Atomic Habits by James Clear. We are reading this every week. We are on chapter 3. You can listen to our podcast. It's really kind of interesting how my sons read it, and they have like their own personal experience with it. I have my own personal experience with it. And we just kind of discussed how we each take it individually. And if you want to pick this up for yourself, I highly recommend it. Like I said, we're starting chapter 3. And I'm super excited to read that tomorrow and do the podcast. I really hope that if you're listening to this and you're watching this, that you get the message that you needed to hear. So if you enjoyed today's episode, by all means, please hit the like button. If you like, stick around and see what I'm going to talk about next, because you know what, truthfully, I will talk about whatever I wake up in the morning and whatever message I feel that I am supposed to be telling you. That's what I'm going to be talking about. And if you would love to leave a comment about today's episode, please do so below. And you can follow me on any of these social media platforms. I would love to have you follow me on Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Those are all listed below. And until next time, until tomorrow, please remember, wear what you want, tell yourself something kind, and tell yourself who you want to be. It's going to make all the difference in the world. I'll see you tomorrow.